Welcome back. It all ends today. Can I actually go in here just before I do anything else? I'm just curious. Can I just hippity hop into here right now? No, I can't. Okay. Just while I was here, I would hate it if I came all the way up here and missed an opportunity to see something cool going on inside the polyhedron, you know. But yeah, the day has just ticked over. It's entirely possible that more people have gotten sick, which is kind of my deepest, darkest fear right now. I did actually try looking up on the internet whether people get sick at midnight or at 7, and I could not find an answer to that. So, just another mystery of Pathologic, I suppose. So really, all we can really do is see for ourselves. I don't think I have a lot else going on. I do have to go see my two good friends by the looks of it. We'll read those notes in just a second. But aside from that, I don't really have anything else to do for the next 12 hours of in-game time. So realistically, we do have a chance to just sort of scan the citizenry, and see if any of them are having any particular infection-based issues at the moment. I think they'll all be fine though. I'm not concerned. They're a tough bunch, you know. Anyway, the Beakheads say you're the only one to have figured out how the true victory can be achieved. They believe that you alone can prevail. This may well be true. They know many things that I don't. What I do know, however, is they are rotten to their core. I have found my own path to victory, I think. Believe it or not, it's simple. But don't reject it in a hurry. Perhaps it's also the way for you to save yourself. Barack. I'd love to have a word with him. Just in case he has anything else to add. I think that kind of seems like a letter he sends me if all of his bound are okay. That's what I'm getting off that. I'm getting some fucking frame rate drops is what I'm getting off this right now. Don't know what this is all about. There's not anything happening. The town is about as empty as it's physically capable of being. So if my frame rate could behave itself just a little bit, just for a little while, just for this, you know, final hour or however long this final episode is going to be, that would be really cool, I think. Hey Maria, I just wanted a word real quick.
I think I'm having fever heat.
Okay. Interesting. I thought maybe as the mistress, as quite possibly the most important character in the final days of Pathologic's campaign, that she might, even though she's not one of my bounds, she might have something more to add, but I guess not. I guess she's just doing her thing. Just living life as a mistress. Saying the exact same words that all of her fellow Dankovsky-ites are parroting at me. Yeah, as I say, I can check my own list very easily and see that they're all absolutely hunky-dory, but as for other people's bound, I haven't actually got a fucking clue how they're doing right now. I think they're fine. I'm like 80% confident that that infection happens at midnight, but I don't know that for certain. I'm not certain about anything, and I'm not sure I ever have been, so I'm just gonna peek at some people. I believe I had the exact. Interesting. I don't think he's sick. I think this is the chat with the developers again. I think that's what this is, which I thought I'd get a letter about, but maybe not. We just got a letter about something now. Hang on. Why haven't you visited the focus of the Specular Tower? It's a rather curious place. Go have a look, then come back here. Otherwise the impression will be lost on you. I've already been there. I know who's hiding there, alright? Yes, but do visit the place all the same. They too know that you know that they know, etc. Reflections. They realise you're not like the two unfortunates. Perhaps they'll also be smart enough to offer you a more engaging story than they offered them. They are figments of other people's imagination, just like the cobbles under my feet. What could they come up with that you wouldn't know? Seems like I do have to go back to the polyhedron. I don't know if that means I can now go at this point, or if I still have to achieve some other bits and pieces first. I think I will try and speak to Dankovsky and Barack first if I can. I'm assuming this letter is from Oh, several people, apparently. Got 2. A high-flying bird you've become. The executors are watching you, barely able to hide a smile, and I don't like their smirks one bit. Soon enough, you're going to see that they were not smiling because they were happy for you. Beware, if you may, we were both trapped. Each one of us has suffered a tailor-made deception. They say you're not like me, and this is not something I would argue with. Moreover, I've just found out something utterly ridiculous about myself. Hopefully your fate will not be a reiteration of my own. Be very careful anyway. Self-assurance is your worst enemy. I've learned of at least one way to achieve victory. Perhaps it may work well enough for you. Come see me if you will. Give me the benefit of the doubt, so to speak. DDD. Does he have a middle in it? Oh, is it Dr. Danil Dankovsky? Is that what that means? Or does he have a middle name that also begins with D and it's just very funny? Clara, we want to say goodbye to you. Farewell. You've been the most interesting one to play with. If you want to talk to us, come over to the polyhedron. Be careful not to mix the facets. We are at the very bottom, at the middle of it. Count to 5 and you'll see us under the lamp. 9 of your friends have gathered here. They too want to say goodbye. Did you speak to them yet? Remember, they're scared and they miss you. Muzzle and thur. What does muzzle and thur mean? I actually can't remember. I know they said their names were, like, Little and Tiny or something, but they also had other names that were a bit, like, grimmer. I assume that's the grimmer names, but I don't remember what they were. My brain is not good, unfortunately. Not the best brain in the world. Not the sharpest knife in the shed. Not the sharpest knife in the shed. That's what I'm not. Interesting that they said 9 of my, presumably my bound, are going to be hanging out in the polyhedron. I don't know if that's actually going to be true, if I go there, if they're all going to be there, because that's going to be interesting. It's going to be like some End of Evangelion shit. Congratulations! Congratulations! God, I'm a fucking weeb. I was actually talking about anime with some of my friends the other day, and it came to my realization that Evangelion is the only mecha anime I've ever watched. I tried to watch Gundam Wing at one point because people said it was really good, and I just couldn't with that shit at all. I'm just not really a super robot sort of guy, but Evangelion is obviously there's a little bit more. It's barely about the robots, frankly, isn't it? The robots are like an afterthought, realistically. I kind of got off track here. I wanted to come here because I'm not exactly sure where Barak's going to be hanging out. These frame rate drops are fucking killing me, man. Holy shit. I swear they're getting worse as well. Look at this. This is the grand finale. This is the final episode. The game could behave itself. The game could be nice. Give me a smooth iteration and not fucking motion sickness inducing lurches forward. He might be in here. I mean, the fact the door's open makes me think there is purpose to coming in here, although maybe I'm completely wrong on that. The layout of this building is insane. There's no reason for it to be anything other than the one cell and the exit, because all these hallways just go nowhere, right? Yeah, they're just dead ends. Pointless dead ends. There's not even, like, in-universe explanations for it. It's not like there's, like, rooms with machinery in them or anything. They're just hallways that go to nowhere. It's honestly a pretty good representation of Pathologic as a game. Is that single building. A warehouse full of halls that go to nowhere and a single cell that you occasionally get locked up in. That's Pathologic. Truly the deepest metaphor yet. But yeah, I feel like mecha anime is something I've perhaps not given a fair shot to because I just didn't think it was my thing. I might have to look into a few more of them at some point. Hello.
The wound hurts.
That's nice. So, you still think I'm a demon? It appears that you've been helpful. Without you, Rubin wouldn't have discovered what my calling was. And in the meantime, I've realized what my mission is. Yes, do tell me, please. It's very interesting. How did you wriggle out of that trap? I didn't. I'm a hero. Better to be a trapped hero than a free cripple, isn't it? You're forgetting about freedom. All that's happening here is happening for your freedom's sake. Do you understand? No, I don't, but you do seem to have got it mixed up. You think, don't you, that what happened here was all on your account? Yes, you're confused, but then allow me to take charge. Tell the commander, he listens to you with rapt attention. He wouldn't even bother listening to me. No, Harrispex, that's not gonna happen. Sorry, my dude. Sorry. But I will invite you.
Just
I think I need to...
will have to be destroyed.
Ah, okay, I speak to him again to do that.
That's how we procure Icor.
And so, are you ready? Your confidents are alive and well. Come to the council. If you really want it, you know my plans. Yes, I do. See you at the council. You're not gonna get your way, but I'll have you there at least. We can have a nice chat. It'll be fun. Go find Dankovsky. This is actually a good way of proving that the bound are all well, isn't it? I mean, I'm assuming I wouldn't have got the invite to the polyhedron if the bound weren't all well, but it's also just nice to have it in distinct words, distinct terminology from the doctors themselves. I'm assuming Dankovsky's going to be over in his little lab in Ava's house, so a little bit of a trek back across town now, but honestly, it's nice to see the town one last time. I'm not going to be here for a while now. As I say, I do intend to come back and get the achievements for myself at some point. It would be nice to have this game 100%ed. Don't think there's a great many people who can claim that. But, that said, I probably won't be doing that for a while. So, this is sort of my last hour with a place I've come to know and, well, love is definitely not the word, but recognize, become intimately familiar with. And it's kind of weird the fact that the final hour is spent with it without anyone about. All the residents are gone. It's a deserted husk of its former self. A town without people is no town at all. It's just a collection of buildings, really, isn't it? It may as well have been blown up already, because what purpose does it serve? Aside from being an expanse to cross between speaking to the few remaining important people. Yes, quite. Sometimes I say things and I look back at them and go, well, that was some pseudo-intellectual bullshit, wasn't it? What am I even talking about? I'm just yammering. I was talking about anime a second ago. How times change. No, I'm a big animation fan. I am, and I like that Western animation is now getting to, you know, the standard, or perhaps in many cases actually better than what Japanese animation has been providing for decades. I think it's very cool. There's been a lot of cool stuff in that realm in the last few years. You know, as long as Netflix doesn't cancel it or whatever. So yeah, I've not really had much need to watch anime recently because there's been a lot of Western stuff that's been filling that void for me, but I might get back into it at some point.
Yes.
Blimey. Look who's here. It's the demon huntress. I hope you've got your stake of aspen wood with you, and silver. Lots of it. That last part sounded oddly covetous. Could be. I'm not the one without sin here. That will be you. That's no laughing matter. You wouldn't understand anyway. Indeed. As it happens, I've discovered the meaning of my freedom. Of course you have, you liar. So listen to how my plot's unfolded. As you probably know, I've been deceived 3 times by people I sincerely trusted. First the powers that be, then the Inquisitor, and now finally I found out that the whole point of the whole affair is... It's that I'm a plaything. And you, undoubtedly, are too. Interesting. Note that Barak didn't mention this, so maybe I didn't fuck up in Barak's campaign, and Barak could never have found this out anyway. Maybe this is specifically a Dankovsky Changeling thing. Maybe. I had this conversation with her as him last time, and she said, I know already. So what now? I suppose you'll suggest that I leave it to you to decide. Of course. How did you know? What, for your sake? You're a plaything? Of course not, for the town's sake. Interesting. There are no bachelors and no towns here, blind man. There's just you and I. And you are my future that I don't even want to happen. It's dull. Don't rush to conclusions. I'm on the verge of making my final discovery. In a nutshell, I feel I've been imbued with more meaning than is apparent to me. Too convoluted, bachelor. You're that learned fool from vulgar comedies. Try repeating all of that in Latin. You might bring down the house. Goodbye.
The contaminated town will have to be destroyed. It's sodden with the sand dirt that can't be eradicated.
Time's almost up. Your bound are alive and well. Come to the council. Alright, I'll come. If you tell Block yourself that you're on my side, the Inquisitor will be disarmed. Wait for me there. And look out. Make sure it's really me. The Haruspecs will come to the cathedral, the Bachelor will come to the cathedral. Neither of them will get their way, I just want them to be there to witness my infallibility, my incredible final judgment that I will be passing down. Pretty cool. Pretty cool to flex on them both, to be honest. As I say, it's weird because, I mean, I think I've touched on this already, but just the fact that as Clara, you seem to have a much more affable relationship with both of those characters than they seem to have with her, which, as I say, is obviously due to the fact that they sometimes speak to her herself and sometimes speak to her weird sister, which is a whole aspect of this game that I still don't truly get, even after playing through the Changelings campaign. It seems like she is some sort of magical, spiritual being, possibly even a Shabnakadir. It's not entirely clear. Obviously the albino is a Shabnakadir, and it's possible that Clara is one also, but she's definitely something supernatural, something greater, right? And it was her sort of lies to protect herself on the early days about, you know, when people were sort of blaming her for the plague, she was like, oh no, it wasn't me who did the plague, it was my sister. It was the fact that she was creating this sister to pin this rumor on, that the sister was willed into being by her own magical power, as far as I understand it, anyway. But then the sister just sort of falls by the wayside a bit. Like, we're all sort of, as a community, blaming her for the plague, but like, as to what actually caused the plague from the Changeling's point of view, it's kind of hard to say. I don't think it really matters that much, to be honest. But from her perspective, like, the other two both have their theories on where it came from. She's just like, yeah, it showed up, I guess.
Yeah.
No real reason to talk to him. I just thought I would because he's there, you know? I don't know, that's how I'm reading it anyway. I'm very probably missed a lot of things. There was talk of sort of Aspity being also another Shabnak, or some sort of non-human creature at least, who possibly ushered in the plague. Is this normal? Oh, they're just, yeah. It looked like they were trying to barricade here and I'd be able to talk to them, but they just happened to have wandered into that position. Random NPC movements confusing me. Right, let's see what we're dealing with then. Oh, the ominous chime of the bell. Not my bound were meant to be here. I don't see him. Yes? Why are you here? Go away. I'm scared. You're scary. Well, you know, just to see if you say anything interesting, but now I see you're just playing around in here. I've come to play with you a little before I go. Okay, let's say the first one then. Scared? Why are you scared, little girl? What did you say your name was? Oh, Thrush. That was one of the initials. Is it derived from thrust, as in into the ground, or crush, as in the process? Or thrush, as in the vaginal disease? Hey, don't say that. It's scary. My punctuation is very weird at the moment. They took the coffin this morning and drove away with it. It's not coming back ever. No one is going to thrust anything anywhere. Alright, it's getting a bit weird now. I regret bringing up the word thrust. So you're back from a funeral. By the way, you can tell me who it is you've lost. Grandad. Our dear Grandad has died. Your grandfather hasn't died, he's merely moved on to the afterlife. Don't cry. Clara's here. Hi, Clara. So you're not a changeling anymore? And why are you still here? Have you been left behind or something? What kind of question is that? Uh-oh, you're not going to hurt us, are you? I just asked because I was curious. Not anymore. I've changed. Now I'm a real miracle worker. Then we've got to go home too. Was this a good game, do you think? Actually, it wasn't your game, kid. Interesting. Please do come by to meet us at the theatre if you have a spare minute. We'd like to have a rather inconsequential but mature talk with you. We apologise in advance for the inconvenience. The people who executed the whole goddamn thing. Interesting. Obviously the kids are grieving their dead grandfather and, you know, sort of enacting their grief and their sorrow into this little role play they did with the town, which, you know, obviously caused an awful lot of shit for the people who live here. But that said, it was kind of nice to stick it to them. To tell them that it's not their game either, that everything they do doesn't matter either, because at the end of the day, a game is exactly what this is. It's Pathologic. I bought it on Steam for like $1.99 or something. It's not an expensive game. It's a game anyone can play. I'm just going to shill for Pathologic for the remainder of this video. Because, you know, I did get it on sale. I got it cheap. But I've got my money's worth, I would say. Definitely got my money's worth with this game. I've been playing it for over a year. It's been over a year at this point that I've been working my way through the 3 campaigns on this game, and it's been a hell of a ride, honestly. It's been a hell of a ride. I've had ups and downs to no end with this game. Particularly in my first playthrough, I really struggled trying to force my way to the end of the Harrispex's campaign, for sure. There were definitely moments in that Harrispex's campaign where I was like, what if I just stop? What if I just don't finish this game? Would that matter? But I am glad I forced my way through and saw not only the end of that, but also 2 whole other campaigns which shed a lot more light on what was going on. I think that was my biggest problem, honestly. Not that the game was hard, because it was hard. Before knowing the ins and outs and the sort of slightly cheesy, perhaps, but definitely necessary methods of getting through the game, I struggled with this game a lot. But it wasn't that, I don't think, that was keeping me from really getting invested in the Harrispex's campaign. It was probably the sheer convoluted, obfuscated nature of its plot line, its lore, and just everything about it. The things which I now am, you know, if I don't understand, I can at least make an educated guess to understand at this point. Back then, I just had no fucking clue what was going on. I was stumbling blindly through a world which I had no real connection to, and I think a lot of that was down to my decision to play the Harrispex's campaign before The Bachelors. I think if I'd been playing the Bachelor's campaign first, I would have been more comfortably eased into the game mechanics, comfortably eased into the lore of the game, and then I could have, like, because the Bachelor's an outsider, right? So he sort of gets a lot explained to him that the Haruspex is just I've gone the complete wrong fucking way here, haven't I? But I'm talking, so it doesn't matter. The developer conversation can wait. Yeah, the Haruspex is just expected to know a lot of things as a character who would know a lot of things. He's from this town. He understands a lot, and having that extra layer of the sort of the Menku and all that sort of overlaid on top of what the Bachelor already has to deal with made throwing myself into the Haruspex's campaign a real fucking bad time. I actually really want to replay his campaign. I mean, I'll be doing it anyway for achievements, but I want to replay his campaign just to sort of see it in a new light, I think, at this point. But yeah, I think the order you play the campaigns in matters a lot. Thank you for visiting us. Go in. You're being awaited. Not at all. Sorry, I was finishing my tea before it went cold there. I thought they'd be dancing for a little bit longer. So I got to try and remember what I said to these people last time. I might even have different choices as Clara, but I want to make sure I tease any information out of these guys that I didn't get last time, because that would be real nice. Let's start with you. Well, you know everything about us already. Now that you've gotten this far, you're much more powerful than us. You know what? As much as I want to say this option, because it's the meta choice, any more information I can get on Clara at this point would be really interesting. Who was Clara the Graveborn? The one who raised her hands first? She was indeed conceived as the disease, an instrument of the law, but she was born a thief. From the very moment of her birth, she got a chance to become someone completely different. The girl came into this world having stolen for herself the fate of a miracle worker. I want to ask both of these. I want to ask both of these so fucking hard. I think I'm going to go with the second one, though. I think we have some sort of clue on the sister, but this is a really interesting question. Does this mean I'm not a toy? Why are the powers that be acting so strangely towards me? Why not? The Changeling, not knowing who she was herself, had fallen into our mirror trap. It was a surprise even to the children who were playing with her. So it was a conundrum. Why, there's no point in hiding that we hadn't expected it either, so maybe, just maybe. How? You're the game developer. Hadn't you made any provisions for every circumstance beforehand? When she first performed a lesser miracle, we were ourselves astounded. We had never thought it could work. It shouldn't have. I see. In fact, nothing should have worked for you at all. And yet, I still have to choose a reply from the options I'm offered. Okay. You got anything to add? The real game is what's happening between you and us. That was an official warning I had to make. I warned the previous characters too, but they went straight for questions, such boring people. Why did you put me in a position like this? What was that split personality gimmick all about? In fact, it was much gimmickier than a mere split personality. It was the gimmick of choosing one's own fate, a logical and temporal conundrum, a Mobius strip of events, a backup plan, and it seems to have worked. Clara is the game's main protagonist, and so is the sand dirt. so is the utopia. So what was the point of this whole affair? What was the pestilence for? You see, we're conducting an experiment of sorts. We find the inevitability worrying and oppressive. We wanted to see for ourselves just how flawed the idea of constructing a sarcophagus for a miracle, or perhaps not a sarcophagus, but a space in which a miracle could always be possible. So why Changeling? Because that's what she is, it's her nature. And she'll stay true to it until the end. Well, almost until the end, seeing as she's the only one with the miracle option. Don't miss it. So what about the Harrisbecks and the Bachelor? What were they for then? They haven't performed any miracles, but both had a chance to accomplish a heroic feat of some sort. And prove or disprove a number of slippery points in the process. The Bachelor? Attempted destroyer. He could have accomplished a feat of moral heroism. The strongest and most straightforward, he was too strongly tempted by vengeance and destruction for his not going through with it to be anything less than a miracle. Or something close to one. What, even here you're not letting me go back to the previous selection? I'll be interested to hear about the other hero too. Well, sorry, you haven't made your choice yet, have you? The miracle is yet to happen. This was just a reminder. Enough. I'm leaving. That's still like a hint. If this is the situation with my invariant, then how am I different? Now then, what have you understood, sweetie? It's all been clear to me for quite a while. I know there's no one here except me and you, and that you left this place a long time ago. That which is talking to me is your pitiful residue. Come now, what makes you say that? We have after all kept ourselves a function and not a constant. Don't try to be smart, I don't understand such words. Still the Changeling, that deeply immersed in the character. I was joking. Speak to my colleague, he's your invariant. Yours, not the Changeling's. I want to know what kind of miracle I can perform myself. You swear it's genuine, right? Shall we tell you? Brace yourself, we're actually going to tell you. Yes. Tell me. Well, initially we were going to rest content with just the destruction, but then we quickly slapped together a different ending, which had this sacrificial miracle in it. On the whole, though, we didn't really plan anything, to be honest. There just wasn't enough time to think it through. Well, that's the most real they've ever been. The whole Clara campaign was just like an extra thought they had, and they sort of ran with, but they didn't really have enough time to fully develop it, or either of the other campaigns, in fact, as a result. Fantastic. Now be quiet. I know where I'm going next. Well, okay. Thanks for that. That was a little bit more, they were a little bit more clear this time, I would say, than when I spoke to them as the Bachelor. Got anything else to add after that? No, you're just not talking anymore. Okay, well, I think that about does it. I think we've pretty much ticked all the boxes. We've spoken to everyone relevant. All we have to do now is finish the game. Huh. I do wonder, this being a remaster, they were talking about how they were long gone and, well, I think it was something I said rather than they said, but I don't think that really matters. Obviously, we're only picking from things they let us pick from. So, they were talking about how they're like a residue of of the person who was long gone, i.e. the developer. So I'm wondering if some of that conversation was added, like, after the game initially released? Like, as part of the remaster or something, potentially? I mean, I suppose the developer would still be long gone. Like, we're not talking directly to the developer regardless of when we play the game. Even if we played it on the day of release, the developer presumably wrote that dialogue months previously, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I'm still a little bit in two minds about that ending. I'm definitely more pro it than I was when they first slapped me around the back of the head with it in the Bachelor's campaign. I think it is nice that we get a chance to talk to, you know, quote unquote, talk to the developers and get, you know, perhaps maybe not clarification so much, but just a little bit more that we wouldn't necessarily be able to find out through our own means, just from having that conversation with them. But at the same time, it does sort of make everything just feel so meaningless, you know? Why isn't it 7 already? I don't really care what I'm saying to that guy. He's pretty irrelevant. Alright, so 7 o'clock is our target. My reputation is tanked today. It's worth noting. I'm assuming that won't affect my my ending at all at this point. Like, reputation only affects what the people of the town think of you, not necessarily the bound. But it's a shame to see all my hard work go to waste. See it slowly trickle away like this. Just gonna save, just on the off chance that I fucking die while sleeping. There's a sword on the wall. There's 2 swords on the wall. Never noticed that before. Huh. Anyway. Yeah, sleep for 6 hours. Your health is trickling down. Let's just make sure nothing too bad happens while we sleep for the remainder. Meat. Bandage. Medkit. There we go. Everything's fine now. Just sleep 1 more hour. That'll get us basically to where we need to be. Stop coughing, Clara. You're not even real. I mean, it's fair. You can't argue with my logic. She's a video game character. Where's she coughing? Doesn't have lungs. She's a collection of fucking assembly code. Was that Dong the rise of 7 o'clock? I do believe it was. Come, Changeling, the assembly is waiting your decision. The queens of the chessboard are in a deadlock and they have each other pinned down. The game may well end in tragic stalemate. You're the promoted pawn and this is the endgame. Go and finish it. I know. You didn't have to bother explaining. Here they are again, the posse. The big decision makers. Is her neck clipping through her jacket there? And I hadn't noticed that before. It was a bit unfortunate. Got a hell of a neck on her, hasn't she? Literally forces its way out of her clothing. That's it. T-pose to assert dominance. They're going to accept your answer one way or another. Don't you worry. Our respects.
In truth, we're not powerless.
There's one last thing.
Willless.
There's one last thing I want to tell you. Yes? I haven't settled on my sacrificial victim yet. Keep that in mind, alright? What are you talking about? My principal goal is not to destroy the polyhedron, but to heal the town. So what are you getting at? Hence I would recommend you to turn your attention to Dankovsky, who intends to destroy the town. Touch him. But I'm not the plague and not a murderer. What's a touch from me going to do to him? Alright, let's not argue in here. Will you let me decide? You know, I've seen all of this already, so what's the difference? Nothing's changed. If you really think so, step aside. Let me make the decision. If you don't understand anything, then mine and the Bachelor's decisions are inherently better than yours, and mine is, of course, better than the Bachelor's. Why so? There's more feeling in it. It's just because your confidence are children. I wish mine were like that.
Cost what it may, the tower should remain intact. The tower is clean.
Stop. Hear me out before you approach block. Speak. You're going to talk about your plan, aren't you? Yes, I have to admit, I have an ulterior motive here. I'd be glad if I didn't have to wreck the town. I might even believe the Ripper, wild though the idea may be, but the only thing he wants is to remove Aglaia from his prophecy. What are you talking about? What prophecy? The kin demands that he kill her. She is his sacrifice. Without it, they won't acknowledge him as the foreman and the warden. He wants to deceive both them and fate and to frame the matter differently. He wants to kill the polyhedron. What, is it alive? Why do you put it like that? Yes, I love the polyhedron. It is alive, no less alive than the Earth, and it is worthy of love. It too is inhabited by a collective body. It too is infused with a divine essence. It too is the dwelling place of a soul, if you like. This whole town is like a pair of conjoined twins. Everything is alive here. I understand this very well. You can't even imagine how well. So you're leaving the decision to me? But what's the point? Do tell me. And be careful, a lot will depend on your answer. The point is that in this case, the winner will be love, right? No. Mere humanity, any kind of it, even malicious, and yet still a living one. We win, and you lose here, you see? You're wrong. Go, there's your Eva, crying by the railing. You'll be the only one who sees her. Good point. I assume that's true. I assume if I go up here I won't see Eva. It's very interesting. I've noticed how Clara is talking from the perspective of me at this point, of someone who has played the game before, of someone who has been through this before and knows exactly what's going on, even if her as a character cannot witness it. I don't know if that's as a result of speaking to the powers that be and the game developers, or if that's just something she always does and it's just confusing if you haven't successfully ticked the boxes, but who knows. Well, this is surprising. I didn't notice that you were here until just now.
I'm so tired, I might faint.
It's good that you found me here and approached me. Now you'll have to perform the sacrament for which for which you, Changeling, Thief, Saint, Sampest, Envoy of the Law and Harbinger came into this world. Are you ready? Who am I, sister? That's exactly what's about to be ascertained. And you're the only one who can ascertain it. That's the essence of the sacrament. By establishing the present, you will establish the past. And with which is yet to be done, you will establish that which has seemed to have been done beforehand. It has only worked the opposite way before. So who are you? I do exist, sister, but in a transient way. For now, you are still the disease, and I'm the persecuted saint. The problem is, there's no me yet. I'm a figment of your imagination, a consequence of a lie you were told. And yet... No, sorry, a lie you told. That's an important distinction right there. And yet how wonderful that lie itself turned out to be. Theft had made a miracle possible. The Inquisitor insists that miracles and me are mutually exclusive. I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. Aglaia doesn't tell the whole truth. From her point of view, there's no such things as miracles. That's just the way she was made. But we, not Simon, are living proof of the contrary. You have a chance to preserve things as they are. You can do what others can't. They're impeded by enmities and hatred. Whose enemies with whom, sister? The Inquisitor and the Commander, the Haruspex and the Bachelor, and then more conflict across those lines. All of them are bent on destroying what they detest. If you want to perform a miracle, remove the threat to each of the town's organs. Enough. Who am I? Speak. You are free to choose your own fate. Now is the time to decide who you've been all along. It's only from the law's perspective that you're the disease, but you don't recognize the law. You're a thief. You'll escape the law by stealing for yourself the path of a miracle worker. You'll defeat it by performing a genuine miracle. And you? What's going to happen to you? I'll accept the destiny that you've rejected. And then I'll vanish at once, because I don't belong on this earth. Go, sister, make your choice. Do not tarry. I still feel like I'm being deceived. Shilbert admitted that she's just a figment of my imagination, that Clara as a character is basically schizophrenic and is imagining the second sister there. Which, you know, the whole willing her into being by my lies is essentially just schizophrenia, right? But I don't know. In this game, a character just being mentally ill doesn't feel like an adequate enough excuse, you know what I mean? It feels like there's always more going on than just that.
I haven't slept for 3 nights in a row. I don't think I'll manage another one.
You have no business being here, Changeling. You shouldn't have come here. We've been doing just fine without you. I'm sure you have. I feel sorry for you, waaaaaaaay. You are an instrument of the law. At least keep that in mind now that you've changed to be able to make the choice here. Don't try to be something greater than you are. That's the best you could do in your position. But you still want me to topple the tower in the process, don't you? Well, I don't think there are any good reasons to do that, other than it being what you insist on. And so you want to destroy the whole town, and that's after all of your talk of love, kindness, and mercy. I am the Sand Fever, an embodiment of the law. I have begun the culling of the town, and I will complete it. Such is my decision. You want to settle scores with me? Is that it? I haven't observed any logic in your words and actions, waaaaaaaay. If I was an instrument of the law, why did you banish me? Because you had yielded to a temptation. You had embarked on a perverse course of action to preserve this outrageous synthesis, which is nothing but a death machine, and to add more deaths to the tally for the sake of its preservation. Your words had also led astray the Bachelor and the Haruspecs, to whom I had taken such pains to explain the real state of affairs. You'll never understand this because you're a sacrificial victim passionately seeking to avoid her lot. You don't judge your superiors, even though you've been invested with the power to judge and to punish them. Well, enough idle blather. Since you've already turned up and made a farce out of this council, decide quickly and let's be done with it. We're not going to hear anything worthwhile here. Yes, I don't like the ceremony and circumlocution either. Yeah, that's a big word that I know what it means. Block, shall we? Well then, let us commence. I'm going to ask you formally in order to get this over with quicker. One word from you and it happens. So you are positive that it was neither greed nor plotting nor circumstance that has informed your choice, but your conscience alone. I've been given orders to level everything here. If this isn't necessary, I trust you on it. My trust for you is infinite. I like how I can select things that aren't technically on screen using my D-pad. Just another slightly buggy controller feature. Yeah, I mean, going with my choice, not seen this one yet. There's no need to destroy anything. We can do all together without gunfire and preserve this world as it is, even though many think it is impossible. Good. Do you really know a way to preserve this town? Yes. I'm restoring the chain of creation. I'm giving Simon back to this town. I'm closing the chain. I hereby declare that from now on only goodwill, love, and dedication shall time and time again be the safeguards of this tiny world's existence. Would you like to know how I'm going to do it? I hereby announce that the choice has been made. The council is dismissed. I guess he doesn't. The choice has been made. Now everything's been resolved. Hang on, there's a lot to read here. I'll just read the whole thing, I think. This is the last day we have left, the choice is to be made. The Haruspecs will come to the cathedral. If I will allow him to decide, he will prove that it's only the polyhedron that must be destroyed in order to keep the town safe. The Bachelor will come to the cathedral. If I allow him to pass the ultimate judgment, he will convince the commander to preserve the polyhedron, even if the town itself have to be destroyed. Why? What for? What is the reason behind this ludicrous decision? Didn't I explain everything to you? The strings were given to you. You only needed to pull. Did you act on a whim? Or was it your decision to make a well-calculated conclusion? I find it hard to believe you were driven by vengeance alone. No, this is not how it was. I think I understand now. You know you're going to leave us before long, so you renounce your chance to perform a miracle and assume the mantle of the law. You hold our mutual enemy to your breast and dive headfirst into the chasm. Is this your attempt to dismiss the inevitable? There is still hope, however, for even though you will leave, I will stay. I will remain here to keep the fate that you have rejected. Isn't that so? No, don't answer me. Just remember I'll always remain by your side, and I will be waiting. What you say to me?
My hands are tired and my palms are tingling.
Farewell, sister. I'm leaving forever and you're staying. That's not what you said in that note. You are indeed unlike any of them. I guess it doesn't matter. I guess the differentiation between the two characters is just nothing at this point. Did you hear what I said? I've taken up your burden. There will be a miracle, and you will have to go. It couldn't have been any other way, my dear sister. Farewell. I take the disease with me as I leave. A lot of evil will be gone from this world along with me. But is this doubt that I'm seeing in your eyes? Is the burden that you've taken not too heavy for you? No, don't ask again. You'll see it for yourself soon enough.
I'm dead tired.
So have you chosen your fate? No, fate can't be chosen. And this isn't about fate. It's you I'm worried about.
We can't let cheats play with our free will.
But that's all a mere formality. What is this town to me indeed? A decoy, a proving ground for someone's character. But there's one precious thing that I will take out of this place, won't I? No. I'm going to stay here.
Should I just give up?
That's an outcome I didn't expect. Why did you do it? You're a destroyer. You have a cold heart. You can't fully fathom even the true beauty of that tower of mirrors, whose nature still eludes you.
What?
I didn't expect an outcome like that. You are a destroyer and a killer, Barak, but for me, you would have drowned your town in blood. Was that what you wanted to save it for? Jobs are good, I suppose. All set. All ready. Just need to see things through to the end at this point. Which is very easy to achieve. Through the power of sleep. It's weird that they give us this extra time. I don't know. I guess it's in case you didn't have the chance to go speak to the powers that be and everything, but I feel like the game could just end after you make the decision, realistically. Or after you leave the cathedral, at least, but this is fine. Sleep. Sleep into day 13. Is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Hell yeah, man! Look at the powers that be having a fun old time. And Clara apparently getting adopted / molested by Block. I'm sure there's nothing untoward about it. I'm sure it's fine. What? Why are those people dead? Are they sacrifices? Is that what's being represented here? Like the fruits being given to the town or whatever? This is people being sacrificed in order to keep it alive. Yeah, it probably wasn't the best ending, realistically.
It was a free choice. We acknowledge the victory of the player.
It is indeed miraculous. The exit is clear. It shouldn't have happened. The miracle must be real.
I guess the miracle is real. I guess you're right. If you want to call it that. Are these all the people we sacrificed? These are the corpses of all the people we threw away in order to keep preserving this town? Oh well. It was an ending at least. It was an ending. And that does it. Been quite a ride, hasn't it? I played some long-ass games on this channel, but this is the first one that's gone, what, well over 100 episodes, I think. Whew. So, is there anything left to say? Is there anything left that I can possibly say about this game after yammering on for all these hours, for all these days, for all these months at this point? It's a cool game. We can just leave it there if you like. It doesn't need to be qualifiers. We don't need to necessarily pick the game apart for its flaws. God knows I've done that enough during my time playing it. For every little moment I got frustrated and decided I was gonna spit in the eye of the poor designer who came up with the concept, you know, like. It's a cool game. It's a cool game. It has cool ideas, perhaps a little beyond its own scope, but definitely stuff other games haven't tried and still haven't tried. What, nearly 2 decades after it initially released? Hats off to it, honestly. There's still hanging questions after all of that. There's still stuff I don't get. Whether that's through my own failings or the game not describing them well enough or what, but honestly I quite like that I'm leaving it with question marks. I quite like that there's still things for me to look back at this game and think about and be like, what was that all about? Little hooks to just keep in my head to occasionally bring me back into the world of Pathologic even when I'm not playing it. Yeah, what a ride. What a ride. Well, I think that about does it. Thank you, genuinely, for sticking with me all this time. It's probably been hella frustrating to watch a dude who doesn't know what he's doing struggle his way through this game and continually make observations and guesses and attempts at things that fell through or contradicted themselves or God knows what else, but I do appreciate people watching. I always do. And that about says it, I think. As for what's coming up next on this channel, obviously I do have my very fun Pokemon Nuzlocke still in process. That's not going well, but it's still going, and that's the important thing. That's probably going to be it prior to Christmas. I usually take a little bit of a break. I usually do some non-Let's Play things, some Game of the Year stuff and bits and pieces tail end of the year, which I'm still going to try and do something around. But after that, I'll probably be on a little Christmas hiatus, I imagine. Probably won't be back until early to mid-January, where I will presumably pick up the Nuzlocke if that hasn't died a death by that point, and look into some other games. Let's say I want to branch out a bit with this channel. I've been on YouTube now for 6 years, I think, which is incredible to say. Just more or less just doing this, but I do like doing some slightly less off the cuff, that's the word I wanted to say, videos. So I would quite like to see if I can start doing a few other bits and pieces beyond the whole Let's Play circuit, but I do enjoy doing Let's Plays. I do enjoy just picking up a game and playing it and spouting off my opinions and rambling into a microphone for 45 to an hour, you know, every day or so. So that's probably not going to go anywhere, but yeah. This at least is going to be the last we see of Pathologic for a little while. At some point, maybe down the line, I will look into Pathologic 2. I'd quite like to see it finished before that happens, and I don't know if it is going to get finished, but I'll be keeping an eye on it for sure, and dip my toe into that as and when. But yeah, I think this is going to be quite firmly the last we see of the original title. So on that note, all I can really say is bye. I'll leave you with the remainder of the credits, and I'm gonna go get another cup of tea because I just finished one and it was kind of cold and wasn't a great experience, so I kind of want a slightly warmer beverage on this cold December evening. So yeah, see you guys around. Peace. We could just got back in time to see the credits finish. Look at that. Do I have anything else to add? Are we done? The dog really wants me to throw this ball for him, so guess I'm going to go do that now. That's going to be my next thing on the agenda. Anyway, bye.